Why, happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to the Tom Colohue channels as we go in depth to wrestling one more time. Bear with me. My apologies. We are going to be covering most of the big news as of today, and as always on a Monday, there always seems to be some news. We've got the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia. Note, I said Elimination Chamber, not WrestleMania Chamber. We've got ourselves a WrestleMania look ahead. We have ourselves a rumour look back. We have more on Cody Rhodes and his contract situation, as well as a number of others in AEW on very similar situations. And of course, we'll be answering any questions that you guys have as well. Thank you, JQuick1, for joining us too, for the immediate host. Always very much appreciate that. We are live right now on both YouTube and on Twitch. And as always, we have targets in mind. We are still chasing that 450 on Twitch. Every follow counts, every little helps, and I appreciate it greatly. Meanwhile, on YouTube, and I'll put the link on Twitch for anyone to grab it a bit later on. Meanwhile, on YouTube, we are currently at 816 subscribers, chasing 820. The magic number today, 4. That's right, 4. 4. That's the plan. That is very much the plan. So welcome, everyone. Please do start to bring in your questions. We're an Ask Me Anything stream. The more questions you ask, the longer the show will end up being, because I'm on a mission to answer every question you have for me. And in just a moment, the live tweet goes up stating that we are live, we are in action, and we are kicking. If you're watching on YouTube, please do remember that little thumbs up can make a massive difference. So please do me that courtesy if you are enjoying the show, or if you're a regular viewer. Because if you're a regular viewer, you hate me. Anyway, let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Welcome Omega says, can it be? It is Tom Colohue. It is indeed. My name's up there. My name's down there. My face is here. It is Tom Colohue. Spider Boss welcome says, is Paige's situation similar to Daniel Bryan before WrestleMania 34? Not quite, but there is certainly similar elements. No two injuries are the same. I want to be clear on that before anything else is said. Paige is not planned at the moment to be cleared to my knowledge, but she has made it clear to the WWE that she wants to be cleared, she wants to wrestle, and if she's not going to wrestle in WWE, she will go elsewhere. Typically in WWE, that convinces them to give them a contract, so it's certainly a possibility. Jay Quick says, will there be a women's chamber in Saudi? Yes, there will. The plan at the moment for Elimination Chamber, first and foremost, is going to be called Elimination Chamber, but they may refer to a special WrestleMania Elimination Chamber because it's determining who will be going to the main event of WrestleMania. Essentially, they're trying to make out that there's 4 main events of WrestleMania this year. There aren't. There's still just one, and it's Roman. So the plan, basically, at its most basic, is that they are going to present you one Elimination Chamber to determine the man and one to determine the woman who has not won the Rumble for their brand. If, for example, as I expect, a Raw woman wins the Royal Rumble, then SmackDown women will fill a chamber in order to determine who on the SmackDown side gets to face off against Charlotte Flair. The hope is Sasha Banks will make the chamber. If she doesn't make the chamber, that may mean that they decide to change tact for WrestleMania and go with, for example, Naomi versus Charlotte, or more likely, Naomi versus Sonya Deville for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Lots of possibilities there. It is very possible Naomi wins the championship from Charlotte in the weeks ahead, and Sonya Deville comes in as her challenger to take it away. Lots of possibilities being bandied about right now. Lots of new, different, quite interesting ideas that are being pitched at the moment. Honestly, some of them very exciting. Moxie just says, Tom, welcome mate, great to see you. Sean Garner says, will there be a men and women's chamber this year? I do believe I've covered that. Quite often I'm a little bit behind on the questions, so I'll reach one of your questions and it's like, okay, I have already answered that, so I'll just skip that over. Let me know if you don't feel I've answered it quite as well as I should have done. Spider Boss says, from AEW, who do you think will jump into WWE? No one for a while yet. Not for a while. Thank you, Michael, firstly for being here, and then for a new subscription. That is 11 months, mate. OG, I tell you, OG. Love it, man. thank you very much for joining, for subscribing, for supporting. When we went back to YouTube, you were one of the first ones here on every show you could, and I really do appreciate that. So yes, Spider Boss, when it comes to from AEW, a number of people have become available, but WWE, to my knowledge right now, are not hiring. They are only hiring unknowns, as it were, to fill the roster below their development roster, because they're cheaper. Andrew Cooper says, love Paige. Me too, mate, me too. I think it's just the British connection. I really do think it is. Quick note, we currently have 13 people watching on YouTube and we have 2 likes. If we can fix that, get a few more thumbs up, I would be very grateful. It'll really stand a good chance of helping us grow and almost guarantees that we'll get more subscribers today. That's the mission that we're on right now. Every like helps. If you can hit that thumbs up, please do so. Moxie says the Royal Rumble is coming in 1 week and 6 days. Indeed it is. And can I just say, I'm excited for this one. There are no obvious standout guaranteed winners here. None. Big E's got a lot of momentum behind it, but there's no guarantee. AJ Styles is one of the betting favourites for seemingly no reason, but there's no guarantee. You've got Bianca Belair. There is still the potential of Sasha Banks making it, the potential of Bayley making it. There are always potential options, but this year it seems like there's a hell of a lot more. So I'm excited for it. I will be hosting a watch party for the Royal Rumble, just so you know, right here on YouTube and on Twitter, the Tom Colohue channels. We will be hosting ourselves a little watch party to really get the creative juices going. The user is here. Hi, mate. How are you as well? Bilsa as well, giving me away. Thank you, mate. Lovely to see you all here joining me. I really do get emotional sometimes with the amount of people who come back show after show, week after week. Even the ones who pop in for like one show a month or so. The fact that people keep coming back really makes a massive difference, and I'm very grateful for it. The user says, I heard somewhere that no AEW talent will be in the Rumble. Do you think it's true? By you heard somewhere, I'm guessing you mean that you heard from Dave Meltzer. Now, here's the thing with Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer has said 2 things recently which make me suspicious of everything he says. Firstly, he said it would be the WrestleMania Chamber, renamed from Elimination Chamber. That has not happened. And just today, he said no one in AEW is talking to him. He did mean about Cody Rhodes, but he said no one in AEW is talking to him. And yet he can say no one in AEW will be in the Rumble. Interesting. Sean says, will Liv Morgan declare for the Rumble? She will. It's likely to be very soon. They're adding a few more names as we go on, but they don't want to be too obvious about it. So they'll leave 8, maybe 10. Pardon me. They'll leave 8, maybe 10 spots available for talent that will be making appearances in the days and weeks to come, or who will actually just be surprise entrances for the Rumble itself. Sean says, hello, Tom freaking Colohue. That's what it should be. That's what it is. I need to change my middle name. Well, I don't. My middle name's Daniel. It's not bad. It's not bad. Sounds very unnecessarily highbrow when you do the whole thing, though. Thomas Daniel Colohue. You can go too posh with it. Spider Boss says, can Sasha make a Cena 2008 and return soon? Maybe. David Leary says, hi, welcome David, great to see you, mate. You did say hello everyone. I do apologise that I didn't immediately say that at the start. You did say that on the YouTube. I do apologise. Hello David. And David does say hello everyone. Does say hello everyone. KJ says, what's up Tom? Did you already go over news? Nope, not yet, because we've just started. As you know, at the moment I'm mostly planning basically to cover news when questions are asked. I am getting closer and closer to the point of, should we just do this daily? But I don't think we're there yet. The fact that we can run for over an hour, and lately we just haven't been running out of questions, that's incredible. And I mean that. The fact that we're dual streaming has meant these shows are full. Absolutely jam-packed. That means the chat rate is up on the YouTube. That means there's lots of engagement for other people to connect with. You guys can essentially chat amongst yourselves at times, which also does wonders for my chat rate and my engagement, even if you guys are just talking to each other. These are the things that make YouTube and Twitch advertise. So I've changed slightly the dynamic. It's not quite spoiler warning anymore, but there is still lots of news loaded into these shows. I guarantee it. Still plenty of news, as there was about Mustafa Ali yesterday. We will be talking more about Cody Rhodes and, of course, Saudi Arabia as soon as I catch up with what's going on. Justin, welcome, says, any legends sticking around after the Rumble? Lita, Bellas, etc. The Bellas, yes. Lita, probably not. The Bellas, by the sounds of it, will be sticking around at least until WrestleMania, primarily to feature in the Women's Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania. That's one of the reasons that they're using them in the way that they are, and one of the reasons that they were announced in the way that they were. Moxley says, I don't think Seth is beating Roman, because he even said on SmackDown that every time Seth and Roman had a match, Seth won for a championship. True, very true. The rock, paper, scissors dynamic is still very much in play, but I'm still not sure. Justin says, what do you think the opening match at the Rumble will be? Becky Lynch versus Doudrop. I think that will be the opener, because ultimately it's Becky Lynch, and I think they're going to want to get the women's matches out of the way early, because the men's championship matches will directly impact who wins the Rumble. That said, I would quite enjoy it if we start with Brock versus Bobby. That'd be fun, let's be honest. KJ says, in my opinion, it's hard for WWE to sign a top AEW talent because they'll go back to AEW at some point. Why sign MJF and push him to the top? He becomes more popular, then he ends up back in AEW as a bigger star. I get what you're saying, KJ, but at the same time, it's very difficult for AEW to sign a WWE top talent as well. Certainly, you are on a bigger platform with the WWE. That's all there is to it. The WWE is a bigger platform than AEW. Simple fact. Absolute fact. So if someone like MJF comes over, he will be exposed to a wider audience. The problem is, he will have less control over his character. So there's a balancing act there. I think ultimately wrestlers are happier in AEW overall than they are in WWE. Sean says, I've been hearing Omos could win. Who from? Who from, Sean? Who have you been hearing this from? I feel we need to start reminding people about the whole sourcing thing. Just to be clear on that. Marcus, welcome, mate. Says Cody is a champion and he has a TBS. He's a 2. He has 2 on TBS TNT. He's a current champion, I'm guessing, is what you're trying to say there. And that's saying he isn't going anywhere. We'll get to that. Michael says Bianca and Liv versus Becky and Doudrop has just been announced on Twitter. Can Becky and Doudrop coexist? Wow, classic WWE. Classic. That's awful. Ugh. Sean says, are Cameron and Melina in the Rumble? Now, we've covered this quite a lot, but I'm going to say it one more time. I know you haven't been here, Sean, so just for you. PW Insider reported that Cameron and Melina are going to be in the Rumble. PW Insider have also reported in the past that Melina has signed a new deal with the WWE and would be debuting on that week's Raw. Melina herself then came out and said, yeah, this is not true. Quite an embarrassing moment for PW Insider that everyone has seemingly forgotten about. PW Insider have also got a few things wrong recently, but overall they are very reliable. I'm pretty sure I've come back now on Twitch. I am trying to come back on YouTube, but I'm not sure it wants to play. I don't think you can restart a YouTube show, so I may need to recreate a YouTube show just to be clear on that. If it loads, which it is absolutely not doing under any circumstances. Maybe nothing's working. My internet's been terrible today. Literally, today, specifically, it has been terrible. I just want to know if we're live on YouTube. Let's get this up. Let's get to the go lives. See if it's working. It says live. It says live. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so it is still working. We had a blip, but we are still working. Fantastic. Okay, let's just continue. I do apologize for that brief issue. Hopefully things are working now. I've had serious internet issues all day. I really have. Right. Michael says, and Bobby Lashley versus Seth. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Not sure who's going to be winning that one. Brock says, I don't get why anyone would believe anything Dave says anymore, because quite often he is still right. The BFG podcast says, random question. What do you think about Jeff Jarrett running into GCW? It kind of came out of the blue, but I'm really enjoying it. Jeff Jarrett has a lot of pedigree, both as a wrestler and as a leader in locker rooms and the like. I do feel he's a big benefit to everyone involved in any wrestling promotion. So honestly, very happy about it. Sean asks if there's going to be a rumour look back. I have a rumour look back planned. If we have enough questions to go beyond the hour, I won't be doing it, basically. I have that like in reserve, but sometimes it's just not needed. I don't want to go beyond the hour too much. Spider Boss says, does Grayson Waller go to the main roster after WrestleMania 38? I don't know, but a lot of people in NXT right now at the top level will be moving straight up afterwards. Spider Boss also says, I'm curious, Sasha looked good during her recovery session during the weekend. We have no idea how Sasha actually looked during her recovery session. All I've seen is a couple of pictures. No way of knowing how she's feeling. Absolutely no way. Sean says, one of the Rumble matches won't open the show. I don't believe a Royal Rumble match has ever actually opened the show. Not to my knowledge, anyway. Sean says, where does Big Swole end up? Wherever the hell she wants. Except the WWE. David says, you think Cody shows up in the Rumble? No, I do not. Personally, though at the moment he is not working as a executive vice president as he previously has been. Get the Table says, are the odds of Cody Rhodes showing up in the Royal Rumble higher? I would not say so at this point. They have not changed in any way to my knowledge, because ultimately the only thing that's changed is that the information about his contract is leaked. That's the only thing that's changed. He didn't have a contract before this. Hey Wiggly, how you doing, mate? Omega says, been hearing from a source that Nixon Newell will win. Don't ask for the source, just trust me. See, that I can trust. Cool, okay. It looked like we came back on YouTube a lot faster than Twitch, actually. I don't think we ever really went anywhere. Thank you, guys. Oh, hello, BM. Hello, Wiggly. The user says, just to clarify, the Rumble on a Sunday morning for us in the UK. Yes, it is on, I believe it starts at 1 a.m. or midnight, Saturday night, Sunday morning. Moxie says, Tom, who do you think is winning, Bobby or Brock? I know I ask a lot, sorry. Don't worry, Moxie. Asking questions is what we do here. It's an Ask Me Anything stream. Ask me anything. I still think Brock. I still think at the end of this, it's business as usual. One of them's going to have to lose a championship. I want Bobby to win. I don't think he will, because it's Brock. Moneymaker is suggesting Sasha and Bayley versus Trish and Lita at WrestleMania. To be blunt, when it comes to that, I'm worried that we're going to get a full run of Lita. I don't want it. I don't feel she is capable of delivering at the same level as the wrestlers that are there now. In addition to that, when it comes to the match, it's not a bad match. It's not a bad concept. I just think there could be other things that Sasha and Bayley are doing. For example, Sasha versus Charlotte. But we'll see how it plays out. It depends on the return schedule. Boss Pedal says, Pretty Peter Avalon announced on Twitter he's open to all indie dates now. I hope he does well. He's one of my favourite jobbers. It's nice every now and then to just have a jobber who's committed to the cause. There's one in New Japan I absolutely love. He won a championship recently. It was weird. Justin Stevens says, if Belair versus Becky happens at Mania, who do you think Bayley would work with? Hopefully Bliss. I would say Alexa Bliss is supposed to be returning at the Royal Rumble. She'll need someone to work with. Megan, welcome. Says, according to Sky Bet, Brock and Big E are the favourites to win the Men's Rumble, with Bayley and Alexa favourites for the women. Interestingly, Paddy Power has Raquel Gonzalez as third favourite after Bayley and a tied Bianca and Alexa. Interesting. Raquel Gonzalez. Interesting. I believe Bron Breaker's name will be coming up a lot more in the coming days, I'll tell you that. Spider-Boss says, does Vince change the winners of both Rumble matches during the pay-per-view? At times, yes. However, historically, the favourite always ends up winning. The favourite on the day, I should say. Wiggly's of the opinion that Lita is a legend, but in my honest opinion, she had her day. I'm kind of in the same boat. I feel I would rather see a push for Aaliyah than a push for Lita. I'd rather build the future than keep taking up time with the past. That's how I see things. The user says, does WWE have any plans for Gable Steveson? Yes, they do. Moneymaker says, is Io ever getting called up? Yes, once they convince her to do it. And Spider-Boss says, I remember Trish carried Lita through their tag team match at Evolution 2018. Lita does not deliver in the same way that she once did, and that's just a fact. BFG says, do you think GCW has a potential to skyrocket in terms of growth? No, and I don't feel that's because of any problem with GCW. I think the wrestling landscape right now is monopolized. It's dominated by the top two companies. Now, it used to be the top one company, but now it's the top two companies. And how much talent is in AEW that was previously in Impact, that was previously in the Indies, in New Japan? There is a lot of talent that's being taken in by AEW, so we now have a two-tier system, and then a third tier that's not even visible. Not even visible. So GCW, for me, the most they could ever hope for is third, and that's a big ask. A big ask. Buzzy Welcome says, hello, mate, how you doing? Wiggly says, I feel the same about both Lita and Trish. Trish I don't quite agree with. Trish can still go. She can still very much work. And yeah, I'm happy with Beth Phoenix coming back more often as well. Boss Pedal says, was the favourite New Japan jobber of yours Toru Yano? No, Toru Yano for me, not a jobber. Serves a very clear purpose when it comes to wrestling Toru Yano. My favourite jobber in New Japan is Yoshitatsu. When he's walking down to a match, he looks like he's been told he's losing. Every single time. Even when he wins, he looks surprised. It's amazing. Megan says, Bron Breakker is currently 33-1 on Paddy Power, but 20-1 on Sky Bet. 10-1 for making the Final Four, though. Not a big surprise to me. Always good to hear that sort of stuff, though. Thank you for bringing that in, Megan. 10-1, nice. No, that's fair, BFG. But essentially the companies from 3rd to like 10th are all fighting for the same piece of pie. The same, and it's not a huge piece. Wiggly agrees. They do need to call Io Shirai up. Once they can convince her to come up, she'll come up. Spider Boss says, what's next for Andrade El Idolo in AEW? At the moment, they are taking it by ear. They're basically taking it one day at a time. No real definitive plans at the moment. I mixed decisive and definitive there. No real determined plans at the moment. Not quite what I said, Wiggly. Not quite what I said. But there is a lot going on when it comes to conversations. It's no longer the case that WWE says you're getting called up and it immediately happens. There's a bit more conversation now. Sean says, if Alexa does win the Rumble, I'd like for her to swerve everyone and challenge Mandy for the NXT Women's title so she can finally hold that title. That is a good idea. I like that. That sounds cool. And Michael says, if they can't convince Io to move to the main roster, then would they release her? Probably yes. Justin Stevens says, WWE announced 7 legends. 6 of them have been in Rumble matches before. Did they already being surprised in the past play a part in them announcing them? Yes. The idea is that essentially these surprises are disappointing. So the future surprises will be more of a surprise. They lay the groundwork and say, this is basically all we've got. Lower your expectations. Oh, by the way, look who we've got. Megan says, favourites for the Final Four in the men's are Seth, Big E, AJ and Omos. I could see that. For the women, it's Charlotte, Bayley, Alexa and Bianca. Those are some good groups. Very good groups. So let's talk news. The big news as of today are twofold. Firstly, as regards the Elimination Chamber, there were reports, I believe originating from Andrew Zarian of Mat Men Podcast and Wrestling Observer, that we were going to see a return to Saudi Arabia on February 19th. The WWE today confirmed they will be returning for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. Dave Meltzer, I believe yesterday, did state that there was not going to be an Elimination Chamber this year, but there would be Elimination Chamber matches. It would be renamed to WrestleMania Chamber. This has not happened. So it is very much a case we are walking straight into an Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia, which I've got to be honest, that is it's not great to hear, basically, is what I'm saying. It's not great to hear, and it's not something I have tremendous faith in hearing. It's disgusting juxtaposition. Now, the WWE's intention to go back to Saudi Arabia in this particular date started months ago. They've been building towards this for a while. The WWE now plans to return to 2 shows per year minimum in Saudi Arabia, with the possibility for a 3rd show to catch up on the shows that they missed during the pandemic era. They missed 2 shows over the course of the 10-year deal. They need to make sure that those 2 shows still happen. So for at least 2 years, we are likely to have 3 shows instead of 2. Pardon me. The WWE plans with Saudi Arabia have largely been helmed by Vince McMahon and Triple H. Nick Khan only recently got more involved when it comes to the business side of things, and he's been a major proponent of making the Elimination Chamber happen there for a while now. There is a clear contingent plan from the WWE. 1, to have a less addled and confusing road to WrestleMania. 2, to make it longer, starting from day 1. Literally, the first of the year until WrestleMania is a period that they want to consider the build to WrestleMania at this point. And 3rd, to make sure that they are giving you the highest possible quality that they can deliver in this period. There are huge concerns right now about ratings drops, and there are huge concerns about competition. So the WWE has made up its mind. More Brock Lesnar, more dream matches, more surprises on the road to WrestleMania. They've seen the surprise of CM Punk. They've seen how people get really excited about, oh, Bray Wyatt's going to pop up in AEW. They want to generate that sort of vibe as well. That sort of feeling that anything can happen. The WWE want that anything can happen feel to return to the company. The plan for Elimination Chamber at the current time is to have 2 chamber matches. 1 for the men's, 1 for the women's. And the winner of those matches would go on to face their respective champions at WrestleMania. Thus, the Royal Rumble will decide the competitors. If, for example, in the Women's Royal Rumble, Bianca Belair wins, she is on the Raw side, so we will end up with 6 SmackDown women in the chamber. That means difficulties ahead, because when it comes to Saudi Arabia, you've immediately lost Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler because they're not allowed. For example, a Raw winner, once again, don't give me a blip like that. Come on, load up. And we're back. Today is not a good day for stream connection. Thankfully, YouTube is soldering on. Where was I? Ah, yes. So it's looking like we will have SmackDown men in the chamber. That means Brock Lesnar is likely to be in an Elimination Chamber. Brock Lesnar, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, etc. That is what it's looking like if the Raw side wins both Rumbles. I'm going to catch up on the chat, but first, in order to catch up, what I was saying about Sonya Deville essentially is that she could not be in an Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia because she's not allowed in Saudi Arabia, nor is Shayna Baszler. The women of SmackDown may struggle to fill a chamber. Boss Pedal says, Eddie Kingston has been bigging up DDT wrestlers on Twitter the past few days, Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuhara Higuchi. He has also been vocal about wanting to fight Jun Akiyama, who is there. Will we see Kingston in DDT in 2022? Yes. Eddie Kingston is not on a contract that is exclusive to AEW. In fact, very few people in AEW are actually on exclusive to AEW contracts. Spider-Boss says, will Becky ever use again the man gimmick? Yes. Whenever she wants. Justin Stevens says, I just hope Alexa lasts longer this year in the Rumble than she did last Rumble. Last Rumble, she had to last a very short amount of time so that she couldn't play off her actual character. They had to protect her by eliminating her as soon as they possibly could. Lizzie says Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia, such an unfortunate implication. Yeah, much like when NXT UK took over Dublin. It's not good. Some fun stats. Megan says Johnny Knoxville is 200 to 1 to win on Paddy Power, which is the same as Jay White. Sky Bet are a little nicer at 100 to 1. That is a claim to fame for Johnny Knoxville. Same odds as a knife pervert. Beautiful. Yes, Wiggly, that's exactly what I mean because of that. Megan says, I'm honestly just glad the Saudi show is not my birthday. That would have been annoying. Just so everyone's fully aware, as usual, I will not be watching any wrestling shows in Saudi Arabia. I won't be doing it. It's that simple. I'm not going to do it. Which means my big pay-per-view watch parties are going to be Royal Rumble, and then the next one will be WrestleMania. Sean says, Britt Baker said she's worth more than MJF and that someone will pay a lot of money for her when her contract is up. Was she in character when she said this, or was this non-kayfabe? It's an important distinction. Rob's welcome, mate. Says Cody is once again all elite under a new multi-year deal, and then Cody mentions that he's not challenging for the AEW title was an agreement under the language of his former contract. And I'm now formally announcing my challenge to Hangman. Of course, seeing himself as a hero to our story. I suspect Cody may take a little time off soon. I think it's well deserved. And I think ultimately he does quite a bit of that anyway. BM says, if Elimination Chamber determines the number one contender, why bother with the Royal Rumble? Because there are 2 number one contenders on each gender. So there are 4 number one contenders going into WrestleMania. 2 of which determined by the Rumble, 2 of which determined by the Chamber. BFG says, any update on whether Goldberg has any interest in going anywhere outside WWE in terms of competing? Some interest. There have been conversations between Goldberg and other wrestling companies. However, at the moment, to my knowledge, he is simply not interested in going elsewhere. The WWE, over the past few years, have intentionally been stalling to slow down Goldberg so that he may be a little bit too old by the time he actually finishes his contract. But he has, to my knowledge, no interest in signing a new contract with the WWE and very little interest signing a contract elsewhere. If he's going to be convinced, I suspect he will be convincing by Vince. No, you're right, BM. It's not the fault of the fans at all. It is the fault of the Saudi government. We all know that. Simon is saying, did you see Sasha's rehab post at Regen Care Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday? Amazing. Do you think she'll make the Rumble? No idea. No idea. At this point, literally nobody knows. Anyone claiming to know is lying to you. Hey Manny, how you doing, man? BM says, what happened to No Way Out or Fastlane? They got rid of them because they want more time to build to WrestleMania this time. The issue with the pay-per-views that they had last year, which I believe was Fastlane and Elimination Chamber, correct me if I'm wrong, was that they just had a load of rematches and they only had one women's match on either show, and it was the same women's match on both. They just don't have time to build unique pay-per-views if they're all smushed together like that. So they're not trying to do that. Justin says, do you think Edge and Miz will be in the Rumble? I do not. I think they will both be competing in the mixed tag match at the Rumble, but will not be in the Rumble. I don't think Edge will be in the Rumble at all, but I do think Maurice and Beth Phoenix likely will be. Manny says, the Women's Rumble is stacked. I'm really hoping for my girl Eva Marie to do a comedy spot. Why not, since the other divas are back? Mostly because she's really expensive, and that's one of the reasons the WWE let her go to begin with. Now, if you're a regular viewer here on the Tom Colohue channels, you'll have been fully aware that Eva Marie was not that popular backstage. Her push ended, I reported that on YouTube, and then a few days later she was released. Nobody's saying otherwise, Wiggly. Nobody's saying otherwise. Entirely WWE's fault. While I have you, if you're currently watching on YouTube, please do remember you can hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to get a notification every time we go live. We do shows on Sundays, Mondays and Fridays here on YouTube. Going forwards, once I've got a few upgrades for my PC, I will be hosting gaming streams more often as well, but that will take place on a separate YouTube, but the same Twitch. Also, if you're watching on YouTube right now, please do consider hitting that thumbs up. It does make a huge difference to the growth of the channel, and it may mean that we hit our big target today of 4 new subscribers. Just 4. just to take us up to 820. It would make a real big difference to me, and I would be forever grateful for it. So please do consider hitting that subscribe button. Every little helps, and we are really at pace for where we're heading with watch time as well. Essentially, subscribers and watch time are on about the same level. Once I reach 1,000 subscribers, the watch time is basically right there with it. Right after we hit that 1,000, we'll be able to monetize. That would make a huge difference to me. So if you can, and if you haven't yet, please do remember to hit that subscribe button. Simon is saying, Wardlow going babyface soon? Crowd getting behind him like Batista back in the day. When it comes to those sort of organic face turns, the company need to push against it for as long as possible. One way in which AEW is actually lacking when it comes to fan support is that when it comes to the organic stuff, they get behind it a little bit too quickly. Just a little bit too quickly. If the WWE got behind Batista back then, Batista would not have been so popular. He wouldn't have been. If the WWE had have got behind Becky Lynch when they turned her heel, when the man was born, she wouldn't have been as popular. Daniel Bryan, same situation. The fans want to feel smarter than the company. They're trained to do that. They're trained by the WWE to do that. One of the easiest ways to do that is for the company to say, no, we're not making the change, and then make the change. BFG says, in my opinion, we should watch the shows no matter where they had praise described. What goes on in the country, all the politics should be taken out of it, and we should just enjoy the shows. Disagree entirely on that one. Disagree entirely. I know it's a popular opinion that, this isn't political. Everything in the world is political. Everything. Every single thing has a political element to it. My personal opinion is that if you choose not to respect the politics of something, that you are essentially just ignoring the reality of the situation. That's my personal opinion. I know that you can be a WWE fan and be negative to Saudi Arabia. I am. But I do not support the deal, and I don't encourage anyone to have their little protest in the same way that I do. If you want to watch it, watch it. You go right ahead. Last year, Crown Jewel sounded like a great show. Didn't watch it. Never going to. Mandy says, I know it's weird because me and her are good friends on Instagram and on socials. She said she asked them to leave again. Interesting. Didn't hear that, Manny. No idea, Wiggly. Not a clue. I've heard nothing about Hikaru Shida. She's not considered that important to AEW. Justin believes men's final four will be Omos, Veer, Shanky and Commander Aziz. Veer's finally going to make it. Oh yeah. BFG says, regardless of where they are, we should just enjoy the product. Disagree entirely. Disagree entirely. BM says, the Liverpool fan must ask you off topic what you made of Rafa Benitez sacking at Everton and his time there. Weird decision in the first place to appoint him. Well, when it comes to Rafa Benitez, very popular guy, did not deliver what he was trying to deliver. At all. And honestly, since leaving Newcastle, he's just not been a big deal. Hector, welcome, says, happy Monday, Tom. Was Saudi WWE's first choice or no? Yes. It was the first choice for Elimination Chamber. The plan was to do this as far back as about 6 months. Ooh, Sean says, loved Spider-Man. Nope, Sean, mate, we've been over this so many times, Sean. So many times, Sean. We spent so long trying to make sure we said no spoilers so that you could still enjoy it. And now you've just immediately come in with spoilers, mate. Immediately come in with spoilers. Would appreciate just a general apology there, just in case. Jay Quick says, I wonder if Becky will dress in Seth's closet. Well, Becky's been dressing Seth, to be fair. That's been the case for a while. David Leary says, will there be a NXT UK takeover this year? I don't believe so, no. NXT UK isn't necessarily wrapping up, but it's certainly going a little bit dark. Simon says, people are saying Charlotte might face Lita instead of Sasha. Who? Who is saying this, and is it someone who would actually know anything about this? Just hearing Twitter chat, it's not the same as news. Hector says, was there possibly a higher bidder? No, there was no higher bidder. The Saudi Arabia deal, the WWE essentially were trying to desperately bite their arms off. Bite their arms off to get the deal. You know? It was the only deal on offer. BFG says, don't agree with what's going on in the country and the deal. Deals I haven't made with different organisations, but it won't stop me from watching the show because I just love wrestling. In no way am I going to try and stop you watching the show, BFG. If you want to watch it, you go right ahead. I personally, I'm going to not. Welcome, Kuro. How you doing, mate? BM says, unpopular opinion, didn't think the latest Spider-Man was that great. It was good, but not brilliant. I really enjoyed it, personally. Thought it was the best Spider-Man that has happened so far. That's my opinion. Larry says, I won't be watching the Saudi stuff either. Not sure if I'll watch the Winter Olympics for similar reasons. Fair. I have question marks over the World Cup. Big football fan. Not sure I want to watch it. Just not sure. Fair enough, Sean. We can put it behind us quite happily there. BM says, new Batman will be with us soon. That's Robin Pattinson. Wow, that's going to be a weird one. Going to be a weird one. Jay Quick says, NXT UK is still a thing. Yes, indeed it is. They still produce shows every single week. Nobody watches them. Apparently there's a completely new champion now. I had no idea. No idea the championship changed hands. News to me. Spider-Boss says, why Becky doesn't use the man gimmick now? Because the man gimmick is a face gimmick. Big Time Bex is a heel gimmick. It is a clear distinction so that the man merchandise still sells. It's not to do with Ric Flair. BM says, do you see Edge winning the title again? I really hope not, because he's not going to do anyone any favours by winning that. Kuro says, Tom, did you touch on the Fuego thing that was the same as the Cody thing? I did not. But to reiterate, thank you for reminding me, I've been saying for a while here in these channels that a number of people who signed with AEW at the beginning of the company have their contracts expiring in and around this time. It is thus not big news that Cody's contract expired in and around the time. This doesn't necessarily mean that his contract is up and he's not planning on going anywhere. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the plan. It is very possible that he simply hasn't been able to physically sign a contract as of yet. Give it time, let's not worry too much. AEW at the moment are very confident Cody Rhodes isn't going anywhere. Very confident that he's going absolutely nowhere. And honestly, I'm quite confident as well that Cody Rhodes won't be leaving AEW anytime soon. The company's been very, very good to him. He is still working, he is still being paid, he's just not being paid the same as the big bucks on his contract. The negotiations are ongoing. The negotiations are also ongoing for a number of other wrestlers in AEW at the moment. Some of them, like Big Swole, have decided to leave. Others have decided to leave and not made it public. There are some people in AEW you're simply not going to see again. You guys are freaking me out now. There shouldn't be any issue in my voice, but we are where we are. Boss Pedal says, I found it strange AEW aren't using Emi Sakura in Ryo and Hikaru Shida's feud since she trained them. Doesn't seem like they care about her. There's a lot of people in the women's division that AEW doesn't care about. Bailey says, when do you see Mandy Rose returning to the main roster? I don't believe she wants to return. To be blunt, I don't believe she wants to return. Right, I need to hear this when it comes to my voice, so let's... What on earth has happened there? I'm just going to reset my audio and hope that fixes it. Here we go. Did the reset work? Let's see if the reset fixed. Nope. Not necessarily worse. Technology, isn't it? Pain in the arse. Nothing's working. Is there filter issues? What am I supposed to do with that? How? I don't need that. Let's do a quick change to a worse microphone and back to my good microphone. See if that helps. See if that fixes it. No, it's the stream. It's very much the stream. Spider Boss says, why wasn't Charlotte part of WrestleMania 37 last year? Injury, I believe it was. Larry says, nobody's watching NXT UK. Let's pretend they're protesting about Downing Street parties. Yeah, because that's definitely something that they would do. Thank you, BM. It's YouTube. Must be something to do with the compressors. Nothing I can change. Ugh, technology. Boss Pedal says, it seems like a massive waste that Meiko Satomura, one of the best female wrestlers in the world, people like Sasha idolize, is stuck in NXT UK. She's not stuck, she chose to go there and chose to only sign a contract for there. Sean says, isn't it weird Mustafa Ali asked for his release, I believe, a week after he tweeted to Marvel Studios that he would like to play Blade? I don't think it's weird. I think ultimately he's just looking for a way out at this point. Moxie, is that actually confirmed? Because I don't recall that. BFG podcast says, he sounded like Vince McMahon in 2006 and his feud with DX. Okay, gonna be blunt, guys. This show has been plagued with problems. I have had a bad day for connections. I work from home and it's been fucking awful today. It's been a dumpster fire of a day. So to see that there are still problems, it's not good at all. Not good at all. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to call it there. We're going to end, 10 minutes early and just wrap it up until Friday. Unless something big happens, at which point you'll see me Tuesday, Wednesday. You know how this works. I'll just start popping up everywhere. You may see me then. So please do save any questions you have for that. I do apologise for the ridiculousness of the voice. If you are watching on YouTube, please remember to subscribe. No worries, BFG, no worries. It's funny and I like it. Please remember to subscribe. We are still hunting that 4 extra subscribers. It looks like we haven't got any new subscribers from this particular show, but we will continue to pursue and see if we can grow in the days to come. Disheartening, but not too disheartening, because ultimately we still have great shows, we still get a lot of questions, and we still have a great time, don't we? So I'm going to wrap it up there, try and work out what the hell has been happening. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. And I'll see you all Friday for more.